Big news from Britney Spears. Her book now has a release date, and they announced it this morning and we have the title now, The Woman in Me, will be coming out in October 24th.
Yes.
And you can actually buy it now. You can, get a pre-sale purchase of it now. So this book, what's interesting about the release date, and she had teased yesterday that there was going to be a big announcement today. When she went to Las Vegas last week, when that whole, the Victor Wembanyama slap from his security guard happened, she was there in Vegas to celebrate this. She knew back then that this was going to be the release date and that it was going to come out this week.
She had actually, what we're told is she had just finished the book the weekend before, and they wanted to go to Resorts World and then go to Catch to celebrate the fact that she had just days earlier actually finally finished this thing.
Got a little sidetracked, but still the release date has come out, and she's been posting promotions about it today, and reminding everyone that you can get out there and buy your copy now. Although what we saw this morning, there wasn't a hard copy listed,
which is odd.
I think that's got to change.
That's got to change.
Months. Right now, it's just the audio book or the ebook that you can purchase.
I don't know about you guys, but she's kind of selling this as, hey, it's my story in my terms. But if you follow her on Instagram, she's kind of spilled a lot about what happened behind the scenes, at least her version of it. For the last few years, she's been talking about it. And remember, when she had her court date, she spoke for about 20 minutes or so, making claims against her dad. And a lot of that, after what we saw from the court proceedings and what was filed and what was true and what was not, a lot of what she said wasn't true. So you have to imagine that she's going to have, or at least the publisher's going to have, some real severe lawyers looking over this, every word that she says, making sure they kind of cross their T's and dot their I's, because, of course, this book goes out, you could be held liable, right?
Yeah, you're 100% right, but I will say, and you're right, I mean, there were a lot of things she said, especially in court, that were not true. I mean, we just know they were not true, and they've been proven not to be true. And it's been an issue. The thing about that is, though, that a lot of the animus is against her own family, and her own family, look, Jamie Spears has not sued his daughter.
Right.
And if he hasn't sued her up to this point, he's not going to sue her at all. So in a way, she's got a free lane there.
And I think something important to note is also Brad mentioned that the lengthy posts that she posts on Instagram, everyone is like going to her page to get that tea, right? They want to know all of the insides of what Britney's thinking. And when she was on the stand, she was very, coherent. She was like speaking very, cohesively. And so for me, I don't know. I'm excited to see this book because it is going to be in her own words, coming from her. And, she does a lot of things on her Instagram, like the dancing videos and things like that. So I'm excited to read this book.
I know what you're saying about in her own words. I don't think this isn't going to be...
She has a ghostwriter.
Right. There's a ghostwriter. And she's going to write what she wants, and then there's going to be someone
and the other
who
thing
ghostwrites it with her. And
the other problem is that it's gone back and forth. I mean, she hated her mom until 3 weeks ago.
I think that's going to be...
And now she likes her.
Something very interesting in the book, if it's in there, is how that evolved.
And things could change between now and the release of the book, because her feelings have changed, toward a lot of people. So we will see. I will say one other thing, that, the people we've talked to, and we have good connections here, there were a lot of people who said this book was never going to come out, that she was not devoting the time to it, and that the publisher was upset about it. And there were two stories going on. One is that she kept writing and rewriting and rewriting, which honestly never made sense to me, because it's a ghostwriter who's doing it, and the story is the story. And the other one was that the publisher was getting really frustrated because they wanted this book to come out closer to the time of the conservatorship ended, and they were waiting and waiting and waiting, and it didn't happen, and it finally did.
Dan Carlin coming to you from Chicago, Illinois. Following up on what you guys were speaking on earlier, yes, we have received her story on her terms via Instagram, via her stories, but this, I believe, will probably be a good move for her on a PR level. We are getting her story a little more curated, a little more carefully worded, and I think the people who might have been weirded out by her erratic behavior and Instagram posts, it could put those people a little more on her side if there's something a little more put together.
Well, that's a really good point. Because sometimes when you read those Instagram posts, they are rambling so much, it's hard to follow and you kind of bail out halfway through it.
But
this is going to be more.
Wait a minute. To say that the people who have read the Instagram post and have been alarmed are suddenly going to be on her side, that doesn't mean they're not on her side when they're alarmed. It means they're alarmed because of what they're seeing.
No, I'm saying they're not. I think what he meant was they're not on her side because they're not following what she's saying, so they're not even paying attention to it.
I think there are people watching her Instagram posts over the last year and a half who are alarmed, and that doesn't mean they're not. And that doesn't mean they're not on her side.
Yeah,
at all.